Hey guys, just jumping back in here to talk a little bit more about one of my recent favorite games, Metaphor Refantazio. So, you might be confused by the title why I say this is one of my most recent favorite games, because the title is somewhat negative, but this is what I wanted to talk about because I saw a lot online and I know everybody kind of felt this. Metaphor Refantazio is one of the most anticipated games. It looked like one of the best games to be made in recent memory. It looked like it had everything we wanted as an Atlas fan, as a Square Enix fan. It seemed like a great combination of things to come from Atlas. However, as time went on, we did get that big bump in conversation about the game and how great it was as we were playing through the game. But then I noticed not really that long after most people had finished the game, we suddenly stopped talking about it. Now, I do know that Clair Obscur came out. That was a heavily anticipated game, and it seems like a lot of people are kind of dumping on Metaphor, saying that that was supposed to be the great game, but Clair Obscur blows it out of the water from a smaller company. But I think even by the Game Awards, the hype for Metaphor had kind of died down, and I always thought that was kind of weird. For it being such a great game, why would it possibly just die out of nowhere? I haven't heard anybody talk about it in a couple months, really. So I just kind of wanted to talk about, what I think. I haven't played Clair Obscur yet, so I can't speak to for sure. That definitely put the last nail in the coffin for Metaphor. But what I can tell you is that I think I have a reason why the hype suddenly died. And this may be a personal opinion. I don't know. You guys just let me know what you think in the comments. This is something I've been thinking about. But, I think about my favorite JRPG series. You think about Persona, you think about Final Fantasy, you think of all these JRPG greats. These games have generally really, really good pacing, really good stories. The combat can be hit or miss. Like, I wasn't a huge Final Fantasy 16 combat fan. I love Final Fantasy 7 Remake's combat. All of these things that I just said, Metaphor Refantazio has for the most part. However, one thing that I know that every game, even Final Fantasy 16 that I said doesn't have all of the criteria that I normally look at, all of these games crush the ending. They leave it on such a climax and such an emotional turmoil. Once you finish those games, you are going to feel a sense of accomplishment, a sense of resolution, or maybe lack thereof. You're going to go through stress, you're going to go through a lot at the end of the game, and you're going to come out with a very positive experience because everything ramps up to the finish. And same thing can be said for Persona. Everything ramps up to that ultimate big bad. However, one thing that I always thought I wanted out of Persona was a little more time to finish the social links, to finish all the side quests and activities and things like that. I'm a completionist. I thought that's what I wanted. However, just playing through Metaphor Refantazio, I was getting everything done in a pretty reasonable amount of time, and then at the end of the game, all of a sudden, you go from all this long, drawn-out story that you're so engaged with to you have a month of free time before you can even go fight the final boss. And, even going through and completing everything the game has to offer, I still had 5 or 6 days and nights that I just had to find a way to burn, because I completed the Colosseum, I completed all the side quests, I had completed the Dragon Quest, I had completed everything except for the final boss, and I didn't want to go early, but it just felt like maybe there was a little too much time. But by the time I went through all those quests and the dragons and everything, all of a sudden, now I felt like I was super over leveled. I went to the final dungeon. I crushed every enemy in sight, essentially. There was nothing that could stand up to my party. And this is kind of the next thing, besides the extra month you have at the end that kind of kills the pacing a little bit from what was a pretty fast-paced game. There's my cat again. He's very mouthy in these videos for some reason. But basically, you do all this stuff, you get super buff to kill the pacing, make it feel better, and then you get to the final dungeon, you crush everything, you get to the final boss, and the difficulty ramp goes from I'm destroying everything, so I don't want to trivialize the final boss, to oh my god, why can't I beat this boss? This guy is impossible, he has so many phases, he kills you so quick. You have to have a very particular party setup, regardless of how over leveled you are, which kills the whole point of the customized party layout and everything. So I think, honestly, it's not so much that another game came in and killed Metaphor. I just think this was a game that relied so heavily on its customizable combat that was very JRPG, very, very nice to play again, because it feels like we haven't had something like that in a while. And you take the pacing, you take the combat that was so unique to this game, and you basically undo it all right at the end. And for me, it left kind of a sour taste in my mouth, where for a game that I had spent the whole time going, man, I never want this game to end, I got to the last month of the game and I said, please just get it over with. I don't want to do a new game plus. I just want to get through this game. And I think a lot of people that were so hyped during their playthrough of the game left the game feeling like, okay, I thought this was going to be the game that I play on repeat like Persona 5 Royal or something like that for me forever. And the ending of that game just crushed that feeling that I had entirely. So while that was personally still my game of the year as far as direction, as far as what I want to see out of a game, there's so much to improve, and I think the worst thing that a JRPG can do is miss the ending, and I think Metaphor Refantazio did that. You guys let me know what you think in the comments, if this had something to do with what maybe killed the game for you. It was still a great game. I don't want to say it was killed, but why was this not Game of the Year? Why did we not talk about it anymore after the Game Awards? We didn't talk, it's just gone. It's like nobody plays it anymore, nobody wants to talk about it. You guys let me know your opinion in the comments. Like I said, I still love the game. Give it a like, do whatever you want. I'm just here to talk to you guys about my favorite games, so let me know what you think. I would love to talk to you some. Don't care. See you later.